After I ignored him, my husband took a break from me. This is how it ended. I've given it more thought. I'm not deciding anything rashly until we've had our talk. If there's one thing I know, I don't think I could stay with him after all this. I can't trust that he won't run away the next time we run into a rough patch. He's a jerk, and I have enough self-respect to step away because I know my worth. I've talked to my mom, and she's happy for me to move in with her on the 21st. She says I'm free to stay for as long as I want. My husband did return as scheduled. His friend has been living with me and supporting me through this for the past few days. He scheduled couples and individual counseling for both of us. I've consulted my mom on this advice, and she said she'd do the same. I scheduled an early maternity leave. I've been awarded a bonus on each paycheck due to all the overtime work I've been doing. I officially leave work in 4 days. Harry, my husband, arrived with his sister, Tiff. I prepared dinner and cleaned our home so that we could all converse at ease with no distractions. Harry looked extremely tired, and he seemed to be on the verge of crying the moment I opened the door to meet all of them. I tried to hold myself together because I wanted to get through this discussion in one piece. When Harry wouldn't speak, I let Tiff do the explaining on his behalf. Tiff is a lovely lady who helped me through the first few months of my pregnancy. However, Harry didn't stay in close contact with her, and we lost touch when the work project started. Because of this, she had no clue about anything going on until Harry called her and said that he had a spare ticket to Ireland. At first, she was reluctant to go along with his plans since she knew that I was pregnant. So, she tried to ask him why he would leave and if I was with someone who could care for me. Eventually, Harry snapped and told her the real reason why he was going away. She joined him to make sure that he knew it was wrong and to help him through all the emotions that he was feeling. She was the reason Harry came back to me. If she hadn't gone with him, Harry admitted he might have moved to central London or a small village in the countryside to get away from all this. It took everything in me not to cry when he admitted that, and I could see the shame on his face. After an hour, Harry finally spoke up. Tiff and Harry's friend gave us some privacy. He confessed that he'd stopped loving me a month into my pregnancy. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was constantly ill, untidy, or couldn't stop talking about the baby. He simply didn't have a reason. It just happened. Since he couldn't think of why he had stopped loving me, he assumed that the love would come back in no time. He believes it was maybe the stress of having a baby on the way that took its toll. Over time, that love didn't come back, and he started feeling incredibly guilty and alone. This is when he got fired from his job. He told me it was because the new management had criticized his work performance. But in reality, it was because he was too trapped in emotion to consider anything but how much he still didn't love me. He never looked for work because sitting at home without me was much better than sitting at work and possibly getting fired again. He came to love having alone time. He wanted to wait and see how long it would be before I caught on to what he was doing. The trip was to test the waters. It was to see if life without me would be better. He remains undecided. In his whole explanation, he kept emphasizing how he didn't love me as if I were a child who needed to hear something 1,000 times just to understand it. He never apologized. In a rough way, I came to know the truth. I cried, I shouted, I cried again, and we sat in silence until I was ready to speak. I told him I could never trust him again. How could I possibly trust him not to walk out on me or the baby? How could I trust him to tell me these things, explain his emotions, or see the story from both perspectives? How could I possibly work myself to exhaustion to provide for an unloving husband? And so, I made the decision for him. We would be going to couples counseling not to be a better couple, but to understand each other and learn to communicate. No matter what, our lives will always involve each other because of our child. And so, we have to be able to communicate better. I've moved into my mom's home, and I'm free to stay for as long as I need to. My mom is helping me turn the spare room into a nursery. She has been the most amazing, supportive, and incredible mom anybody could ask for. Tiff and I are going to stay in closer contact, and Harry's friend said that he would help out in any way he could. For the childbirth itself, Harry is not welcome. I will make sure he is not mentioned in my emergency contacts. Finally, I've decided that Harry and I are separating. We would finalize our divorce after the baby was born.